Hello, Froggy here. And what would you do if I told you there was a giant button on the moon? Well, with some help from Elite and Nonsense, we're going to go press it. We'll be doing an IRB using the Pit of Heresy on the moon. Unfortunately, we can't just go over that green barrier anymore because they added a kind of hard roof to keep you in. So the first Autorez is out of the question. That means we'll have to complete the first encounter. So I would recommend having at least 2 people for safety helping out to make sure that clear goes smoothly. There's a convenient place to get out of map before you reach first encounter. So, luckily you don't have to do too much backtracking. I would recommend having Navigator at the ready because once we get out, getting to the button is going to require a little bit of height gain. Plus, backtracking back up that drop at the beginning is so much nicer with Navigator than with, say, trying to stasis climb up that thing. Walking up is a bit annoying, so I think I will just grapple up the whole way. You can just barely see the drop shaft sticking out of the top in front. Once you reach the tube, you're going to want to grapple climb up right next to it to keep within the allowed playable space. You want to stay kind of close because it's possible to hit death barriers and whatnot if you stray too far. Now we just need to get back into Sorrow's Harbor proper. Previously all of this would be done by just jumping over to the top of the barrier we saw earlier. But alas. The ceiling here is intangible, so we can just go right through. Although it does hide grapple points, so be a bit careful there. Don't need to grapple for a while, so just going to use my grenade. And now we've got something of a long walk before the game will permit us to use sparrows again. So the route we're doing is pretty much the same as what I did to get to the Dreaming City on the moon, and you can go there while doing this. I'm leaving this all in sped up because the moon is a bit tricky to navigate. As you can see here, I forgot that you need to go to Circle of Bones and that this is not that. And I've lost my sparrow, so guess it's walking time. I can see why it took Eris so long to get out of this place. It is quite a labyrinth. I tried IRBing to that bridge, but unfortunately it's within box pull, so alas. We'll be heading to the Catacombs to set our IRB point. Took a lot of math to identify that, so glad it's still useful. Normally that would involve going around the entire long side of Circle of Bones. But if we sword fly out to the right here, we can take a shortcut. Pretty handy to avoid having to encounter more enemies, which could be a problem if you're trying to avoid dying on the way back. The last time I came out here, I didn't have Strand. In fact, it didn't exist. So we had to sword fly and then stasis climb to get up to the point. Might as well set up for some sword ammo gaining here. And that sound means that the Autorez is pretty much ready, so once you're pretty much at the end and out of danger, you can have one of your fire team members join to start setting up the IRB for themselves. Having trouble remembering exactly where that platform is, so I might just go for kind of doing the sword flight that I'm used to. So we would fly out this direction, then climb up that pillar, and oh, there we go. It was just a little bit past the pillar. I want to look forward at this platform and then just die pretty much anywhere on it. The button itself is inside of the Shrine of Oryx, but it is within the box pull, so there's no getting into it without first breaking out of the box yourself. You can take the same shortcut back, and we need to pass through the Hall of Wisdom, which you can find just up here. You can see Elite has failed the wisdom check and missed the turn. Well, now that we're safely through that hallway of enemies, there is a hole in this room you can use to get out of map. Ah, here we go. Right here. I want to be a little bit careful about not dropping too far. And you can just fly right over to any of the land over here. The depth to load that we're coming up to is a little bit inconsistent, but it's highly retriable. Just gotta cross this gap and go on the right side of the weird mirrory stuff. I've had the most luck just jumping over this gap and then just kinda crouching here. Although if that doesn't work for you, you'll want to just go back to Hall of Wisdom and try again. It doesn't matter if you die to that load, since a death to load does not disrupt an IRB. Now that first encounter has been entirely completed, we can get everyone else out here. Also loot! Yay! Well, while we wait, might as well get some of that sword ammo back. And I'm just realizing that I forgot to take advantage of that earlier death. Anyways, set ammo to low. Die. And after that, set your ammo back to high again. And do that enough, and your ammo will be back to full. See Elite doing the approach again. And now two of us are out here. So the button itself is right above the middle point of Shrine of Oryx. There's also the Dreaming City structures out kind of to the right. Let's see if we can... Yeah, if you kind of look at the bottom left of the screen there, you can see a kind of darker region. It's pretty much all that you can see of it at this distance, which makes it a bit of a challenge to fly to. But anyway, since Elite is here to res nonsense, we can get on our way. Not sure exactly how many grapples you need to get above the box, but I'm gonna go for safety here. Worth noting that only one person needs Navigator. The other people can follow along with the points they leave behind. Since the entire top of that is under the influence of the box pull, you need to land precisely on it, or you will not be able to touch the button. Oh, we managed to do it. We're in an induced turn back, so we only get 4 seconds at a time, but because there's no death exclusion, we can stay here all we want. And it seems the button changes the button to a sphere. Not quite sure why it does that, or if it does anything else too. But it does do something, and I must say that is much more than I was expecting when the Cube 17 mentioned that he had spotted this strange object. Let's get some HUDless action. I would love to know if this thing, oh, well, didn't move too much, so probably still fine. Yeah, still good. Anyways, I would love to know if this exists in D1, so if you have a console and the inclination, let me know if you can get there. And once you're done with your button pushing, you can swap to stasis and throw a grenade at your feet to spawn back at the earlier platform. Might as well go and check to see if that Dreaming City section is still as I remember it. You can use the same sort of setup from the beginning of this video to do any of the other Moon IRBs I previously made videos on. Kind of see on the bottom left that it's getting a bit more structure. And we're probably good to start dropping down. Pulling out an Eager Edge sword or doing a heavy swing will kill your momentum immediately, so that can be quite helpful. And it looks like it's all still here. Let's see. Back to the regular map part. Well, let's go say hello to Elite. I'm glad we still have this remnant of Season of the Hunt in the game. Although I really wish they would fix the Ascendant bubbles around the realms in the Dreaming City itself. Caused a lot of minor issues. Maybe they'll touch it up for final shape, I don't know. Anyways, we're just an easy grapple away from Elite. And I don't have Strand equipped. I think I'm just gonna head out.